What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Today's is a day. Today's Monday. I think we're going to find out some words from the My Algo people about what has been going on for the past weeks. And I have promised that I was going to kind of reveal all the things that maybe I've been hinting at and leaving people maybe frustrated and all that. And I don't want you to be frustrated. I want you to know where I'm coming from and what exactly I mean. I'm putting a lot of trust in my 6 a.m. brain to make sense of this and, deliver it in a coherent and, logical way. But it's stuff that I really feel, really think, all of the things that I'm going to say, by the way, are public information. It's all public information. And if it's not, it's my opinion. I'm going to do my damnedest to let you know when it's facts and it's just my and it's just my opinion. Okay. So I'm going to do that. And frankly, this My Algo announcement coming up has no real bearing on what I'm doing here today. Today, I'm not going to be revealing who the hacker is. And frankly, I'm not going to be accusing anybody of being a hacker. This is about more than just this event that happened that has been so devastating to a lot of people in our community and yada, 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 yada. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. I've made it clear over the past few days that, look, it's my personal opinion if Algorand at what I have wanted from Algorand, right? What do you want from Algorand? Oh, this is important actually, before I even dive into that stuff, that everybody knows that everything I'm talking about on Twitter here has nothing to do with the Algorand blockchain, okay? So that is important for everybody to know. The Algorand blockchain remains undefeated, okay? It's never been down. It has less than, 4-second transaction finality, over 6,000 transactions per second. It seems like they're going to be able to scale that quickly. They have innovative solutions like state proofs, yada, yada. It's been, created by Silvio Macaulay, who's behind zero knowledge proofs, verifiable random function. It is a beast. It's an underutilized beast. And it's been here for a while. And I think that there's some reasons why we have been left behind on some level. Because it's we. And if we're going to navigate the regulatory waters, Gary Gensler and all that, I personally believe, and it's just my opinion, that we need to have true decentralized community governance. And in order for us to be a good governance body, I feel like we all need to be wading in reality. We got to be swimming in reality here. We all have to know the real facts of what's gone on for the last few years and what's going on right now and deal with it. You know what I mean? That's what I think. And maybe I'm wrong. And maybe a lot of you are going to say, dude, FUD. You know what I mean? Come on, bro, move on. Where's the Coop talking about holes in boats? Like, why, Coop? Why do you got to do this? Well, it's my way of fighting for Algorand, my way for continuing to participate, because in the end, I believe that Algorand's on a troubling path. And it has nothing to do with the technology or, a lot of the brilliant people that are involved with it. And frankly, some of the great people that are in the foundation and Inc. and all of that. It has nothing to do with that. And nothing that I say today is personal to anybody. If you guys don't know, a few weeks ago, it was announced on Twitter in the middle of all this My Algo saga that I was going to be a community champion for Los Angeles. Now, I was conflicted on whether I should do this, right? And I was thinking, and I had the idea that, okay, well, this is a community champion in Los Angeles. The focus will be in real life events in Los Angeles, yada, 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 yada. It's unimportant what it was. And then the other day, I have been frustrated because I don't sense urgency and I see a lot of different things happening. And I, out of frustration, said that the Algorand Foundation is out of touch and they need to stop hiring know nothing about, I just went a little, it was probably unnecessary, to be honest. I mean, let's just be frank. But was it unnecessary? It led me here. That's what we're going to do. And that's what it is, right? So, no, I'm no longer a community champion. And by the way, I hold no hard feelings, no ill will. It was a decision that I feel like they had to make. It was a decision that frankly they were gonna make. If you look at the history, it's simple. That's simple, and that's not a problem. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just kidding. Okay, so folks, let's talk about. Let's just make sure that everything is working. I'm not going to look at the chat today, but is anybody complaining? No, it's just good mornings and thumbs up, and it was necessary. Everybody's good. I'm not going to look in the last thing before I dive in. I'm not going to be looking at the chat throughout. I'm worried that will derail me. So if you have actual questions for me, maybe hold on to them until the end, and then I'll go into the chat. And so I don't have to scroll, the whole chat to figure out, which questions. And then I'll take time at the end to go through your questions and give you whatever answers that I possibly have. Right. And it's not lost on me that I'm just some dude on YouTube. All right. So it shouldn't be lost on you either. I'm a guy that really has cared about Algorand for a couple of years now. I've been talking about it for a long time. Obviously, my knowledge about it has grown. And, that's it. People talk to me. Maybe they underestimate me. I mean, I think that that's something that has happened on some occasions, that I believe people underestimate me. They think that they can manipulate me towards their agenda and they reveal more than they wanted to. But that's not what I'm talking about here today. Okay. So let's just move on. So let's just get out of the way some of the stats of what has happened recently. So on February 20th, now if these stats are not perfect because we keep on getting new information, it's hard to track. I get it. And so if this isn't 100% perfect, I apologize. Wonderful sources for this exploit, hack, whatever it is D13. So you should follow him on Twitter. He's doing great reports. You could also obviously follow my Algo and other people like that. So they're giving a lot of information. But some of the facts, as I believe to know it, is on February 20th, there was 24 wallets manually drained of about $9.4 million, okay? And then there's been this that was manual. And then almost weekly, it feels like we're getting some automated script style drainage of small wallets, any kind of wallets. It's an attack. In the end, I think a grand total of around 30 million Algo. And then I don't know if that includes, that number was given to us by my Algo, but it says grand total of 30 million Algo from about 2,000 accounts have been drained. And I don't know if that 30 million Algo includes all the BTC, all the USDC and all that, but it was a significant drainage in a small ecosystem with already limited liquidity. It's a big deal. Even though, and maybe in the grander scheme of things, and if you look at everything, it seems small when it comes to crypto hacks. It's a big deal for our community. And it's my opinion that the hacker is doing this not only to make money, but because they're making significant amounts of money. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how successful they are getting these off of places like KuCoin and everywhere, but there is a significant amount of money that they were made. But I also believe that it was done to hurt Algorand. Now, why would I think that? Well, because it's this weird mixture of manual and scripted, and they keep on letting us know they're still there. And they've done really odd things like rekey manually NFT accounts. Now, nobody that's actually looking for money is rekeying NFT wallets in a small ecosystem with strapped liquidity and, it's small. So all those NFTs are going to be identified and all of that. So it seems to me that they're trying to shake people's conviction in the best tech, and it's making Algorand very vulnerable. And I believe that that is part of the plan. Now, that's just my opinion, and that's just basically, speculation. But I believe that there are facts to support that speculation, and it's unimportant, frankly, to what I'm doing today. Oh, it's not unimportant, but it is what it is. So I said on Twitter, I believe that Algorand is under attack. I got some pushback on that, being like, dude, please, can you not say shit like that and not give us like actual details of what you mean? What do you mean? And then, unfortunately, I guess some people took that to believe that the blockchain was under attack, and that's not what I intended to do. And I think I've already cleared that up. But what do I mean by Algorand is under attack? Okay, well, first I can eliminate somebody or an institution that I believe is attacking Algorand. Do I believe that Algorand is under attack by the Algorand Foundation? I do not. I do not think that the Algorand Foundation is attacking Algorand. I do believe that they have provided fertile soil for an attack on Algorand. All right. And we'll get back to that in a second. Why I believe that. Oh boy. All right. So, like I said, we're going to find out later today from my algo what this is. I doubt that this is whatever they say is going to fully eliminate the fact that this could have been an inside job. Now, an inside job doesn't necessarily mean, the CEO of Rand Labs twisting his mustache in a back room. An inside job could be somebody that worked at Rand Labs and my algo. It can be somebody that was able to access the back end of my algo, whatever. I don't know what it is. We're going to learn more about that, but it does seem like there is potential for that. And if you've watched my previous videos, I have fully explored Borderless Capital's connection with Rand Labs and Pablo Yabo, the CEO. I also explored the lawsuit that is currently against David Garcia from Borderless Capital and Pablo Yabo of Rand Labs from a previous partner. Coin Fabric is suing them for $10 million currently. And Coin Fabric alleges that Coin Fabric was the people that got the initial Algorand contract, and David Garcia and Pablo Yabo conspired to eliminate him from the deal to make sure that big lucrative deal from Algorand was just theirs. Now, those are all accusations, and and that is just public knowledge of a lawsuit that is, publicly available for you if you want to look at it too. It's out of Lake County in Florida. Okay. So that is a little bit of that. And if you want to know more about all that, you can look at my previous videos. That's not what today is about. And frankly, I think it's important for me to point out that I have focused heavily on those people, and I want to allow for the fact to them, if they're watching, I want to allow for the idea that, look, maybe I've been focused on one thing and it's another. So let's really dive in here and it's not about what, this isn't about me zoning in on one thing. This is me kind of laying out everything for you to be informed. Okay. So I don't believe that the Algorand Foundation is attacking Algorand. Great. Good. So let's just do a little bit. I want to just some circumstances, some odd circumstances, some maybe unfortunate realities of what the current landscape of Algorand is right now and where it started. So in the beginning of Algorand, there were some very, very important players. Okay. There were some very important players, and they are about 4 or 5 different projects, institutions, whatever you want to call them. Okay. And amongst them are Rand Labs, formerly, I guess, technically on some level, Coin Fabric, Borderless Capital, formerly Algo Capital, Reach, which is led by CEO Chris Swenner, is also somebody that has been around since the beginning and has received tremendous amount of grants from the Algorand Foundation, a lot of support from the Algorand Foundation. And then you also have Hippo Labs, which is responsible for Para and Tiny Man. Now, for the purposes of today, I'm not going to be talking about Hippo Labs because I don't see them as much of a player in the current landscape. Their Para wallet is doing fine. Tiny Man was obviously hacked a couple years ago. Was it a couple years ago or was it last year? I don't remember. Maybe it was just last year. But I don't know a lot of details about that. They're going to be shelved for this thing. So if you look at these players in the Algorand Foundation, in the Algorand ecosystem, you have Borderless Capital, formerly Algo Capital. You have Rand Labs, formerly Coin Fabric on some level, and you have Reach, which is, has been around from the beginning, received a lot of support. They're also responsible for things like Humble Swap, Alloy, and some other smaller projects as well. Okay, so currently we have basically a new leadership at the Algorand Foundation. We have Stacey Ward. I don't need to go through all of this. You guys all know about there's new leadership, and it seems, and this is my opinion, and then this is me speculating, but it seems to me that this new leadership looked, and I have no inside information, okay? So I can be corrected on this, but let's just say this. It seems to me that this new leadership at the Algorand Foundation looked at these major players that have gotten tremendous amounts of the Algorand treasury, and they have said, what the hell do we have to show for it? And frankly, it's a pretty honest, pretty accurate representation. What the hell do we have to show for all the money that's gone to Borderless Capital, My Algo, Rand Labs, and frankly, I'm sorry, but I love them, Reach? I know that all of those people and all of those things have done lots of things. I'm not saying it. I'm not trying to denigrate any of them, but I'm just saying I believe that the Algorand Foundation made the calculation. What have we gotten from this? And is it wise for us to continue supporting it? And the reason why I think they have laid fertile ground, I'll get to in a second. Okay. So they're responsible for some of this stuff too, in my opinion. But what has happened and then what's happened after it is interesting and at least needs to be mentioned. My Algo, Rand Labs, the Algorand Foundation cuts funding for My Algo, Rand Labs. I don't know the exact details, but I do know that they have drastically cut back whatever they were giving them within months. My Algo being drained. Reach gets funding cut, right? Big time. Very upset. Chris Winter was very verbal about being upset about this. They're not going to be able to continue. They need this funding, right? And he's made the point that DeFi in its current way can't really exist without that kind of funding. Yada 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 yada. Well, within months of that funding being cut, Chris Winter is launching a fork chain called Voy. Okay, and Borderless Capital, formerly Algo Capital. Algorand Foundation, big announcement at Decipher. They're launching their own venture capital fund. Borderless Capital, former Algo Capital, probably doesn't like that either. Okay? And we see it. I'm not really doing a lot of this sharing my screen today, but I do have one thing queued up. We see it just yesterday or the day before that. We had a rule who has not been somebody I've been discussing on the show, but he came out and he made a statement saying, hey, guys, a CEO are you guys seeing this? Yeah, you are. A CEO is not the right title for someone leading a foundation. The proper title is community leader, and their number one goal is to serve and grow the community. This applies to all blockchain ecosystems. I am seeing several blockchains struggling with community management and adoption growth. I think it's about time we see leaders getting elected through on-chain governance. Well, that speaks to a lot of us, doesn't it? I think that makes a lot of sense, but it's also a shot at shot at Stacey Warden, clearly. It seems very obvious to me based on also just the past couple of weeks and that there isn't necessarily the cozy relationship between Borderless Capital and Algorand that it used to be. Now, maybe they're going to come out and deny that, and they're going to gaslight me, and it's going to be whatever it is. So there's that, right? Now, I'm not accusing anybody of like coordination or anything like that towards a hack. I'm not saying any of it, but it is an unfortunate set of circumstances that these pillars of the beginnings of Algorand, Rand Gallery, Borderless Capital, Reach, have had their funding, basically their tap to the Algorand treasury cut off, and now we have my algo being drained, a fork chain, and calls for the CEO to be removed, which we'll get to in a second, what I think about all that. That doesn't also include the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, Borderless Capital and Rand Labs have these interesting ties. David Garcia is very adamant that I'm not understanding him. He said it very clearly. My personal opinion, and I think most people that have been watching my show closely, probably do understand that he, at least at the very least, wanted us to believe that they were more separate than they were. I am acknowledging right now that it's possible that I'm meddling in something that has nothing to do with this, and that's why he doesn't want me to do it. So I'm going to move on from that, folks. I'm going to move on from that because it's not really important at this point. There's people investigating all of this, so it's not up to me to wonder about that anymore, okay? But I'm just pointing out the current state of Algorand. So now we have this fork chain. We have one of the major, thankfully for Algorand Foundation and everybody, the Para wallet is in fact previously known as the official Algorand wallet. But let's not kid ourselves. The MyAlgo wallet is huge, and that's being drained. It's being drained over weeks, and it's a big problem. And by the way, I'm saying all of this like it might be linked towards that drain, and that's not necessarily true. By the way, people, look, this is a well-planned thing, right? There could very well be a very Machiavellian person that knows how incestuous all of this is and is using this into its advantage to make everybody look in a different way. I mean, look, there's all types of different things, but I think that, a former friend of mine, Riley Rueda from Guard, she said that sometimes the most simple answer is the best answer. I don't know. And I'm just laying out the facts with that. Okay. So how has the Algorand Foundation laid fertile ground for this type of behavior? Now, look, at this point, this is probably an area where people are going to accuse me of FUD, but it's facts. And it's unfortunate. If you are very, very blindly supportive of the Algorand Foundation, you're not going to love all the things that I have to say right now, but I believe is rooted in reality. And yes, some of it is my opinion, but a lot of it has been corroborated. A lot of it's been corroborated and all that. So I think that we can go back to, there was a major event. And it might not have looked that way necessarily from the outside, but it is my opinion that this was a major event for Stacey Warden's leadership at the Algorand Foundation, and it has been downhill ever since. And that event is the HODL event. Now, it's not just the fact that they lost 35 million USDC of their treasury. I think personally, in my opinion, they have way underplayed the effect that $35 million had on their runway. And that's not just my opinion. I've had people grumbling about that for a while, folks, but it's fine. It's not whatever. I believe that it is. It's frankly in the end, it's my opinion that they were way more affected. Their runway was way more affected by losing that $35 million. But more kind of importantly to me, this was a major moment, and it was a hard moment for me as such a committed, dedicated bull to Algorand for so long. And Stacey Warden most likely rightfully came out after HODL. And my point is this isn't to bring up a whole bunch of like a laundry list of problems, but I'm getting to a place, okay? She came out and she took responsibility for the HODL drain. Now, she's the CEO. It's probably the right move, right? And she kind of played it off a little like callously, like, hey, I'm new. I'm just getting this crypto thing down. I got you. Like, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna be stronger. Peace. She was real chill about it, and people were like, huh? Okay, $35 million. That seems like a lot. But, this was also during a time when FTX was exploding. Everything was falling apart. Celsius, Voyager, we're seeing major amounts of money. $35 million starts to feel a little insignificant. But really, I think that was a big, big blow to their runway. And, but more kind of disturbingly to me at that point is that she comes out, takes responsibility. But I think that she underestimated the intelligence of her audience on some level, because I don't think anybody that was really paying attention thought, oh, yeah, Miss Milken, former of the U.S. Treasury, she went ahead and put $35 million of her treasury into something called HODL in Singapore that is super risky and unproven. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. She didn't do that. Who did? Who did? Oh, probably the guy in charge of the Treasury. And the guy in charge of the Treasury is a dude named Ryan Terabellini. And Ryan Terabellini puts this $35 million in the, maybe. I mean, that's what I think the intelligent people are thinking. It would be his decision to do that. And then you have people online pulling up Ryan Terabellini's past, and there's valid questions. I was on vacation, and I tweeted to one of those threads. It was a Terabellini idea for me to sign into Twitter on vacation. Stacy scolded me, saying she expects more intelligence and judgment from me, which I took as she expects more compliance and obedience from me, which underestimates who I am, frankly, but that's okay. It's not my ego. That's, whatever, but it's true. And I think that we probably see that through her leadership all over the place. Is, of course, she expects obedience and compliance. I think that that's true, but that's my opinion. Okay, so she does that, but then in what I can only describe as a kick to the face to everybody, to every single person that entered into Algorand because of Silvio Macaulay's vision, because of the solution that he found, solving the trilemma. We all believe in this decentralized, awesome technology. A kick to our faces. She tells everybody, if you don't like my hires, if you don't like my people, you should sell your algo. Now, obviously, she has admitted that that's a problem, and she was just emotional, and she supports her team, yada, 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 yada. Well, that made a lot of smart people be like, well, does she support her team over Algorand? So that was a big, big blow to Stacey Warden's credibility as a leader, in my opinion, and also a big blow to the Algorand Foundation runway to help create Algorand adoption. And then we have what you can probably describe, at the very least, suspect decisions. Now, I believe that the HODL thing may have happened after a lot of these decisions, so it's hard to look in retrospect. And any one of these types of deals are fine, right? Especially in a bull run, especially when you have cash to burn and you're just trying to get your face out there. But, there's people are right to question the liquidity that is still at the foundation after some of these decisions, after losing $35 million of the runway at HODL and going on. You had a $100 million loan to Algorand Inc. for their drone racing league deal. Now, that on its face could potentially be cool. I don't really know. But in the current landscape, I'm sure they regret that. There was tens of millions of dollars that went to the sailboats and the Formula E sponsorships. That's a lot of money there too. And, frankly, it appears that there's been a focus on hiring people that Stacey has been close to in the past, potentially. I have no idea, but I don't know anything about any of the hiring packages that some of these guys go. But look, I mean, I hate to be a dick about it, but when one of them looks at me square in the face and says, Do you actually believe in this shit? It's like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? How much money are you paying this guy? Nice guy. And I'm not going to sit here and like name names and stuff like that. But it's like, once again, okay, do I actually believe in this shit? Yeah, I do actually. And I'm also like a dude that talks on YouTube. Why would you say that to me? Sounds like somebody that doesn't really care. So the Algorand Foundation puts themselves in this terrible, terrible position where I don't think they have the runway that they're going to lead us on to believe. I don't know that for a fact. Maybe they can prove that they do, and it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure when they came out after HODL, they said all this money. Well, that was including the entire Algorand treasury, all the algos that Algorand has to create adoption leading up to 2030. And they created fertile ground by having to cut funding to certain projects. And then when they cut funding to my algo, whether it was linked or not, it's hard to ignore. They cut funding to my algo was drained. It's hard to ignore. They cut funding to Reach, Voy was born. It's hard to ignore that they created their own VC thing, and now Borderless Capital's unhappy. That's the current state of Algorand. So what do I want? Right? Like, why am I saying all this? Well, guys, it's my personal opinion that from the beginning, Algorand has been looted by people that potentially didn't have Algorand's best interest in mind, by people that potentially were good faith actors taking advantage of a cool opportunity. People that did build stuff. I mean, nobody didn't build anything. I mean, I'm not trying to say that my algo didn't build anything. They built my algo and the Algo Explorer. Fortunately, they are being accused of essentially stealing that from Coin Fabric, but that isn't detail. I don't know real details about that. And Reach, of course, has their very accessible coding language. Humble Swap is a cool working product, and obviously Chris Swenner is a friend, and he is a person that is beloved in the Algorand community. So it would be quite a stretch of an imagination to think that Chris Swenner is anything diabolical or nefarious, in my personal opinion. So I think that the reason why we have seen Algorand not take off is because there have been people, and most likely people at the foundation previously, yada, yada. The story is deeper and more, 360 than I am making it out to be, for sure. But all I can talk about are these outside. I don't know anything about the internals. But there's been in not the best interest of Silvio Macaulay's vision of hoarding resources, and we don't have a lot to show for it. And I believe personally that the community deserves better. And I really think, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's going to be a lot of you that say that I'm wrong. I believe that we all need to be swimming in these waters where we know what's actually happening so we can make real decisions that are in the best interest, hopefully, of Algorand. And I hope to be part of that. And I want to be part of that. And, I have to give the foundation credit, and certainly somebody like John Woods credit. I didn't even mention the fact that when they cut Reach's funding, they're like, well, we got Algo Kit, bruh. So look, this new leadership is trying to do some things. They just made terrible decisions with the money, I think. It's created a lot of animosity in the community towards the foundation. It's created a situation where people are going to be more likely to rally around things like Voy, rally around Borderless when they're calling for the CEO to be removed. It's a very fertile breeding ground of attack, and not all nefarious attack. Some of it, a lot of you, good faith, wonderful people in the Algorand community are going to think some of these attacks are a good thing. And I'm open-minded to it. But I'm just dealing with the reality that I believe that Algorand has been looted for a long enough time. And everybody's been doing it under the, and it's, they provided enough, but really have they provided what they were paid to do enough? You know what I mean? And I think the Algorand Foundation, frankly, made that determination when they cut all the funding for some of the people that I have talked about, that they could either do it better or they no longer wanted to support it. The issue that a lot of people have is that they look at the Algorand Foundation's track record of how they've spent money recently, and it's kind of ridiculous. So when they are cutting funding for crucial things and then those things blow up, it's kind of like, well, you kind of created that. So there's two sides to that. It's more complicated than I can put in this little video that I'm improvising with a little bit of weight on my shoulders right now when I'm looking at the numbers and stuff. So look, like I said early on, I'm just a dude on YouTube, but I'll humbly give you what I think. Look, I think Stacey Warden is a badass, to be honest. I think she is a player on the world stage. I think that she can enter a room with Hillary Clinton and, I don't know, Mitch McConnell, whatever you want, and she can hold her own and she can get her message across and she can get people to come along. There's a reason why she was put on the board, which apparently is a very small board, and then was put as the CEO of Algorand Foundation. It's because of a grander vision, probably from the big guy himself, Sylvia Macaulay, that wants this kind of governmental, institutional adoption. It's been my thesis from the very beginning that Algorand was going to be third place, the bronze medal party. You guys remember the bronze medal party that I think can still come was because it was going to be an alternative to what the Bitcoins and the Ethereums do. And it was going to be that major player at that top high level. And frankly, it could be said that that's what they're focused on. And some of us are delusional, wanting it to be anything else. But I don't believe that. If it's truly permissionless, if it's truly decentralized, and if Silvio Macaulay is an Italian man, he clearly loves art. He wants a vibrant ecosystem on all sides. I have to believe that. That's what he wants. He doesn't want some cold government chain. And so Stacey was brought in for that. Do I think that Stacey Warden should be fired? I don't know. I don't know about that. Look, she's made some poor decisions, I believe, as CEO. That's just my, peanut gallery opinion. And I'm sure a lot of you have other opinions. I broke down some of these investments and I have speculated that I believe that their runway is much worse than we're being led on. But that's just speculation. I will say that, look, do I think that there is a loss of faith in her leadership? I do, but maybe not from the people that matter. Maybe we don't matter, the people that have lost faith. I would love to see her, maybe step down and stay with Algorand if she believes it and work with, Keller on, all of this stuff that we're talking about that she would be so good at. And then, of course, the people's champ is somebody like John Woods, moving him in. But I think that that's unfair to John for me to say that. I'm sure that he doesn't actually want that. And none of this speculation really even matters, folks. But all I'm saying is if Algorand is going to be the thing that I have thought it was going to be for a couple of years, which it was going to be the top three chain or something like that. That because of all of that governmental institutional adoption, but it also has this vibrant artist community. This, the crypto guys. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, maybe that's not their audience. Maybe the community is out of touch and the foundation is in touch. Hot take. I reject that. I don't think that that's true. I think that if you talk to most VCs, when you ask them, well, would you like to invest in Algorand? Well, their complaint is there's not a big enough community. If you want large businesses to come to Algorand and set up shop at Algorand, they're going to probably want a large, vibrant community that will use their product. So I think that that's silly. And if we're going to stand in the way of regulators, we need to truly decentralize governance in the XGov platform. To the Algorand Foundation's defense, they're saying they're building those tools. I'm not asking for anything new. I want XGov and I want us to take more control over it. Does there need to be changes? Potentially there does, but those aren't decisions that I should be making. So I hope I made this clear. I mean, to circle back to the beginning with the hack, it's my opinion that this is, whoever did this is somebody that is very familiar with the Algorand ecosystem. And I cited things like ReCoop, NFT wallets, and yada, yada, this mixture of manual and script, whatever. Hopefully they're going to catch that person and money is going to be able to flow back to the people that were affected. Anybody that I've discussed on this show in the last 3 weeks that is sitting there feeling unjustly pointed out, I apologize. I've been on a mission to reveal the truth for whatever reason, guys. It's not fun. But I appreciate you guys. I wanted to make sure that I have time. It's 6:45. I want to make sure that I have time to answer questions because I'm sure I left things out. Like I said, it's 6 a.m. in the morning and I just trusted my brain to let all that out in a coherent way. I hope it made sense. I hope you have a better understanding of the current landscape. And I hope I didn't make too many enemies. Let's see what happened. If you have any questions, now would be the time to drop them in the chat. I'm seeing a very Coop's clever. Safari is based. Maybe this is an Algorand Foundation tactic to boost Coop's audience. Wouldn't that be kind? Eric points out that Algorand was number 18 in market cap when Stacy took over. It's now number 40. Tony Khan is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's cool. Yeah. Oh, by the way, all is not bad. Let's be honest here. All is not bad. I mean, when it comes to, like you say, I just said all the bad things that have happened. You have so much interesting adoption happening, right? Maybe the FIFA partnership didn't play out the way we wanted it to, but that was like a real high level kind of partnership for Algorand right there. In Italy, we have the Bank of Italy putting their loan guarantees on the Algorand blockchain. There's deals in India at their T Hub. They're one of the premier innovation hub in India. There is deals in the UAE. So Algorand is on that world stage making progress. So hopefully, because that's where we all knew it was headed. We all thought it was headed. A lot of that has to do with Silvio McCauley, and I bet a lot of that has to do with Stacy's prowess. It's just unfortunate. I think the current state of the foundation. So Damien is, I think, defending Jessica, the new CMO, and I have nothing bad to say about Jessica. Jessica platform doesn't need to be Twitter. She's been reaching out to all the big players, patience, and let her work. Plus, John is out here crushing it. Let him work. Coop. Bottom line is Algorand has always been undervalued as crypto bros cannot value any tech correctly and go by influencer, celeb, and cool factor. All chains have been drained and scammed. That's another thing that I think is important to point out is this type of stuff isn't unique. We're in a bubble and we're all talking to each other. This is like this isn't unique to Algorand that there's been these missteps and all that. So, yes, that's true. I want Algorand to be that thing that kind of is able to separate itself from that. And we decentralize governance and we all know what's going on and we're able to make informed, real decisions. Clear as mud, FUD. Look at what Stacy's accomplished in her life. What have you, Coop? Yeah, man. Look, that's just sure. I mean, that's a personal character attack on me. And if it makes you feel better to look at it that way, then I think that that's right. I don't think we need to get away from the NFTs. This person, we need to get away from the NFTs. Branch off into more attention, real world utility. We don't need to get away from NFTs. We need to grow upon NFTs. NFTs is one part. Games are another part. All of these other things are parts. We got to just grow it. And we need an Algorand foundation that is able to provide results. All right. Okay, he's got a question. Chris says, Coop, I really appreciate you. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that that's your reaction. Question, do you think that the downfall started when Stacy left for no serious reason? Do you have any idea why he left? Oh, Steve, sorry. Yeah, I have no idea why Steve left. I don't really know a lot about the early workings of Algorand Inc. or the Algorand Foundation. All I know is that none of us, what's his name? Shoot. None of us got into Algorand because of Steve Kokinos or Sean Lee. Okay. I've heard zero people be like, I was inspired to come to Algorand because of Steve Kokinos and Sean Lee. No, you're inspired to come to Algorand most likely because you heard Silvio McCauley on Lex Friedman. Expecting crypto bros to value anything properly is a loser's game. Wait till chains have true professional use cases. They won't go near the fool's gold and will look for genuine world-leading tech. 100%. But crypto bros are the only people that are using blockchain tech currently. So to discount them completely creates zero incentive for anybody to participate here. They'll leave. And then it'll be a ghost chain. And then when businesses can contemplate coming to Algorand, they're going to think twice. What is already strapped for people in liquidity, you remove the guys that are already here and you talk down to them. You say that they don't actually care. It doesn't even matter what the crypto bros think. Okay, well, you know what? Eventually, you keep telling them that, they're just going to go. You can see it. They're already buddies with VeChain. They're already buying half of the NFT community in, not half, but a handful of Ethereum NFTs now. Like, wake up. This is what my frustration was. Wake up to what's happening. And you have somebody like Chris being like, yeah, guess what? They don't care about you. They don't care about the NFT community. Guess what? Come here. Be part of something new. Same tech, more inclusive. So if you keep on telling the crypto bros and everybody that they don't matter, if you keep on building a foundation that has zero connection to them, guess what? They're going to be lulled into the fork chain. They're going to be lulled into Ethereum via optimism. They're going to be over there buying their, whatever those called, V8s. Got to be careful, guys. You know, a lot of you think I'm fudding. No, I'm actually fighting for this community to actually, have their voice heard, and hopefully for Algorand to wake up and see what I think is important. And you know what? Honestly, I could be so damn wrong. I could be so damn wrong. And I mean, I called out some facts. You guys can take it what you want. Maybe I'm a fool for believing the way I believed for 2 years. Maybe I'm a fool for exposing what I'm thinking right now. Maybe this is all fool's gold. And like some very smart people have told me, I'm taking this too personal. One guy was like, man, you're like a beat spouse. You're abused spouse. You're acting like an abused spouse, so you take all of it. Anyways. El Crypto wants to know what's the deal with these new outside NFTs. I don't really know anything, but yeah, I don't know anything about that. Shari says, real talk, she hasn't found an NFT community here I'm in love with, still waiting. I mean, I have, Shari. I like being, I'm part of, I feel like a lot of the communities. Maybe I'm not the most active person in all the discords and stuff, but I feel like as a member, I have a lot of fun in the Mingo yielding community, doing quests and all of that with my mostly friends. I love what he has coming in store. I've been kind of surprised recently by Shitty Kitties and that fun community. I really like how homegrown and cool that is. And, they have Shitty Cities and you have all that. And then, you have guys that kind of like, I feel like, a little at home with, and, just guys that feel like dudes that I would drink a beer with in New York. And so you got guys like Native at Scully Friends. So that's personally, I don't think maybe that wouldn't be your cup of tea, but there's also Thirstober. She's an hysterical, talented woman that is doing the Thirstober horse race, Stupid Horse and Tiny Horse and all of that. And and then you have the OGs like Algorand. There's a lot of communities and they're worthwhile for sure. It's Buddy Man is here. And he also is a very funny creator. Gary won't win, wants me to jump in the Voy van. I'm not ready for the Voy van, but I love and respect all of you people. I'll listen. My first take about Voy, since we're here, my first take about Voy was, okay, this is obviously born out of spite. Okay. Chris's funding has been cut, and now he's going to bring it to him. I didn't really love that. But I have to allow for the fact that it's growing past that. And so, I don't know. I'm here fighting for Algorand. Personally, I wish Chris were here with me fighting on Algorand and we could create some sort of thing where we really get governance operating in a real way. But, Chris is invited to come on the show and we can talk all about it. I'm sure he will when he's ready to do that. I think you guys are talking about Lofty. Don't mix a business like Lofty with NFTs. Yeah, and I mean, that's very different. I don't know what is that's in response to, because now I see Dragon rolling his eyes. So I don't know what they're talking about. That's okay. Yeah. So- Captain Obvious, aka Safari Browser, says you can't fight in this way and be community champion. Agree? Agree. Agree. David wants to know about the ETA for the My Algo incident report. I don't know. They said today. Agash says, Coop, you have my respect. I appreciate you keeping it real. Thank you, bro. Because your board thinks that Coop is working behind the scenes with Chris. No. The answer is no. Did I have the opportunity to do that? Possibly. I don't know. But no, I have not worked at all with Chris on Voy. You can talk to Gov, you can talk to Chris, you can talk to anybody in that Discord. I was in that Discord, but I have participated in none. And to be perfectly frank, I was quite pessimistic. And if you've been watching my show, you might have heard me say quite pessimistic things about Voy. I'm concerned about, like, look, Algorand already struggles with liquidity. Algorand already struggles with, fully decentralizing relay nodes. And I don't know all these things, and that's why I need to now open up and be like, all right, well, guess what? It's time to listen more and maybe judge less, because I did judge Voy harshly because of what I believed was built out of spite. And I do believe that it would be better served that we all fought on Algorand for true decentralized governance, because frankly, all the people that I mentioned, myself included, in this video do not matter when it comes to Algorand. New people can come in and run a foundation. New people can come in and talk to you on YouTube. Like, Algorand, if it really is what it sets out to be, and what it really is, what it says it is a permissionless open source blockchain that anybody, but it has network effects, right? And I'm doubtful that Voy, it's just hard for me to believe that they're going to be able to build a robust infrastructure that does it better than Algorand, with how much Algorand's even struggled, you know? But I could stand corrected on that, by the way. And the good thing, like Safari Browser mentioned, is that now I'm not a community champion. Now I've said what I've said. I seriously doubt I'm going to be on stage at Decipher if Stacy is the CEO of the foundation then. So it's, I'm free to give friends the space to listen and maybe not make snap judgments anymore. That's all that it is. So because your board is definitely wrong about me working with Voy. Justin says, whatever the case is, he appreciates the candor, Copper. And Copper Durnals, appreciate you, Justin. Mr. Blue Sky, we are here. Crypto for Change. Oh, yeah. It says ignore because your board is a paid fudder. I do believe that because you're bored, and, look, I mentioned the Terrabellini thing, and I think he was one of the people that was kind of messing around in that. It was his thread where I was told to have better judgment and intelligence. I think he has admitted that he's paid opposition research. So you obviously have to take what he says with a grain of salt. Dragonfly likes Algorand. I do too. Poor Damien. It's like, for whatever reason, Damien's such an awesome supporter of the Algorand community. He's such a great, it seems like such a great guy based on his posts. Reading his comment, I just pictured him looking at the computer right now being like, is there anything good, bro? I remember when you would say good things, man. Oh, man. But anyways, he says, do we have any positive updates for this week? I believe Paris Blockchain Week and Silvio is speaking, but I haven't heard much about it. I think it's something that's going to be positive is we're going to find out more about my algo later today. And if Silvio is speaking at Paris Blockchain, I can't wait to hear what he says. I love every time Silvio speaks. I'm not so sure that Silvio any longer likes it every time I speak. It's fine. Previous question. Is there a real time scale as to when the Algo Foundation expect to step away? If so, do we know who owns making that happen? Well, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I know all the answers to this, but I do know that there's expected to distribute all the algos by 2030. And it was my opinion that when they recently launched this venture capital fund, that was their way of making them self-sustaining. So I don't know if Algorand Foundation is what it is, a nonprofit that is meant to just, distribute the algos and help adoption of the Algorand blockchain. Distribute the algos in a decentralized way. If that's what it is, and maybe they can continue on if they're able to create partnerships and invest in things that make them more self-sustaining. Coop, are your ears ringing? Are they talking about me? All you have is now. Evis says a very important community member told me today that Algorand is heading into the Betamax, and I added also the HD DVD superiority that lost to Blu-ray. We need to be careful. Yeah, I mean, it's important to know, by the way, that I'm not sitting here alone in my little lit corner of my spot. There's a lot of very, very respected community members that have reached out to me, said thank you. I don't about some of the stuff I've been saying over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, and I honestly don't know what to expect, but they're saying my ears are ringing. So is it bad? Is it bad? All you have is now. Yeah, it's Buddy Man with his commercial for Algo NFT artists. He's like, there are passionate independent artists chasing their dreams on Algorand, drawing pictures they love that you can support for like $5. And don't play me though. I saw what you were buying the other day for less than $5 for 5 Algo. I bought 5 of them too, Buddy Man. Yeah, and then I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with who you are. You do look familiar. Your profile picture looks familiar, but I also want to say, as I'm highlighting these community-driven NFT projects, there's also a ton of artists on sites like Dartroom and stuff like that came to Algorand because maybe they aren't crypto bros. Maybe they are concerned about the environmental impact of blockchains, and they saw an opportunity in Algorand being something that supports their values. And what they've probably run into is a very liquidity strapped ecosystem, and it's a struggle for them too. So, I know some of you are out there supporting these people, and if it's in you and you like to support artists like that, I mean, go over there, check out some of them. Shari loves Mingo. Yeah, Sick Media I think has has the beat right here. He says because your board spews a lot of nonsense mixed in with some credible resources, but he's wrong often. I don't know, DM. I don't know the answer to that. I know that it's significant. He asks, how much funding has Chris and team received in total from Algo Foundation? I'm not sure the exact amount, but I am pretty confident that it's a significant amount. Two Tiny Trees says, hey, the ReCoop, isn't that how Algorand was designed? to allow people like Chris to build sister chains to solve problems? Um, I don't know. Well, I mean, co-chains aren't, I don't even think are live on Algorand. So I don't believe that co-chains were a main, obviously now I think that they're building co-chains. So institutions like banks and stuff can have the ultimate authority over it. But no, Chris is doing a hard fork of the code, and he's going to, that team is planning to build out consensus, and they're doing all of the heavy lifting over there. Hey, Sood, Casey, I love you too. Thirstober says, thanks for the shout. And Thirstober's awesome. Chris says, I personally was upset with the funding cut, of course, but Voy was born out of the idea of wanting to create a chain that is actually owned by its users. It's enticing. Are you guys seeing my urgency? That's enticing. I'm not rejecting that. But maybe you understand my urgency. Maybe if there's anybody at the foundation still watching this, maybe now you understand why I'm a little concerned for how you guys are doing it. And again, I'm an idiot. Have you guys read The Idiot? I was thinking about The Idiot this morning. It was like literally the first thing that I thought about this morning. Dostoevsky, The Idiot. It's a great book. Seth Pierce giving me some love. Thank you, Seth. Moriarty is pointing out, I think that the outside NFTs are AI art, but took a bit to curate. It's still, I'm sure, and it's only the initial offering. They're supposed to be tokenized carbon credits. It's about utility, not essentially the art. All right. I mean, I'll look into outside. I don't really know what's going on there. Shari says, like and subscribe, fam. We will come out stronger. Thank you, Shari. Yeah, you could like and subscribe. That would be a great thing to do. And I'm not sure if I'm going to come back tomorrow. I know I'm going to be gone Wednesday and Thursday this week because my kids' school, their teachers are on strike, and my wife's birthday is on Wednesday. So we're going to escape town. I feel like I've also just sort of said enough about all this stuff, and maybe you guys want a little bit of a break. I might come back tomorrow and do a show, but maybe I won't. But I definitely will be back Friday to recap the week. And then moving forward, I'll be here every day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm not stopping this. And this show is very different than what you just watched. It doesn't even really know what it is yet, to be honest. That's okay, though. I've been doing this for a little over 4 weeks, this live thing daily, and it's finding its shape. I've got a bunch of awesome guys that have been hanging out with me in the chat, and hopefully we're building something good. Ka says, or K, I think he's K on Twitter. Question, when Seb interviews, sir? I don't think Seb wants to come on. I'd talk to him, though. Ludo from aka Everyday Algonaut says, at Aramid, we are running also sister chain with modified consensus with the note field up to 100 KB. Can someone make Coop a real tinfoil hat just for fun? Coop, not a Voyagen? Sad. Janny wants to know when I'm going to interview Bill Clinton. I might have just lost my access to the Clintons. It's okay. Chris says, yeah, it hurt, Coop, but I still love you. Yeah. Dustin says, right after that, fuck Voy. Okay. David W says, absolutely. Why does Chris not build Algorand Foundation on Algorand with his own funding and mission statement? Splintering the already small NFT community to fork chain weakens all and disrespectful to Sylvia. You know, obviously, I've opened up this can of worms, and I don't disagree with David on a lot of his points. I do right now. I think that Algorand really needs to focus on the community being informed and taking the reins. And Chris would obviously be a very, very effective leader of that. I agree with you, Jacopo. Jacopo, there's an abysmal amount of nonsense of people thinking that to use Algorand and develop on Algorand, you need the foundation. Decentralization, where? That is something that bothers me too. Everybody looking at the foundation like they you need their permission or you no. What's happening, Jacopo, is currently there's not a lot of users. There's a good amount of users, and we're in a struggling time. There, one of our main wallets is being drained. People are concerned, and frankly, you have people like me now deciding to put some of this stuff out here. The vibes are not necessarily high, but I don't believe that that is something that has to go on forever. I think that if we actually come together and build out a community of users, then there'll be more incentive for people to come build their thing and not need support. Shari misses my algo. Is that wrong? Well, my algo was heavily integrated into certainly DeFi and certainly the NFT ecosystem. Just build and use the tech if you're in for the tech. Makes sense. Dragonfly wants to know why Voy can't be an ASA on Algorand. That's a legit question. I think that that's a good question. Dragon has a good question for Chris, and Chris is obviously free to answer that. But that would also be a question that I would ask if Chris came on. Safari browser wants to know why no ReCoop Telegram. There's a Telegram. IRL says, I miss it too. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but I'm sure it's something sweet. All began, I know, Chris disputes the idea that Reach has failed. I think most people would dispute that Reach has failed. Shari says that Telegram is dead. It's one of my least favorite apps. El Crypto says, on a personal note, it's visible this has been a rough ride you have embarked on, my friend. You are critical to how the community sticks together. Big respect, Coop. Well, I'm if I am, it's only because what I'm doing is important, I guess. I'm not looking at it like that. What has happened over the last this year, frankly, if you've been following my channel closely, and I know that there's not a lot of you, but I know that a good solid handful of you have been, you know that I've been reaching for what makes sense and how I'm gonna proceed. And I've landed on, you know what, you're just gonna have to have the courage to say it, and you're going to follow your instinct, and you're gonna deal with the consequences. So that's what I'm doing. I appreciate you, El Crypto. And Dragonfly is only asking about the Voice and ASA because he's only because he's curious. He's not trying to pass judgment on Voice potential. You'll be thrown in the corner with the next block. Yeah, maybe at Decipher, I'll put on a disguise and I'll just pretend like I'm part of the next block. Seth, you're invited to be on stage at Free Cipher. We're gonna have to do my bronze medal party. Hurry up. We welcome you, Coop. Thank you. Oh yeah, I remember that IBM guy, Sheck. That's funny that you remember that. Over some Four Roses. I don't hate Four Roses. Crypto for Change is pointing out that because your board was gifted the Terrabellini stuff, it wasn't because of his research. People who hate Algorand feed him stuff to say, Crypto for Change says. Reason he blocked me and other people who call him out. Love Rumi is very, very, very soon. Yep, NFT NYC is soon. London Bridge should be coming soon. And Doobie. Yeah, by all accounts, London Bridge is coming soon. Bill says, I love Algorand. I love Algorand too, sir. Damien liked my statement about him earlier. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through this, and I'm losing guys, but there's still some of you here. So Silvio's the GOAT. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. Looks like Richard Harris had a incident over this weekend where he looks like he hurt his neck and he took a shitload of, I guess those are muscle relaxers to fix it, and then he woke up to Twitter on fire. Yeah, Chris Swenner is making the point that he's also very wrong on some things. Yeah, because your board is just like anybody that is just trying to crack things into it. I mean, he was talking about me being, getting tokens or, being in bed with Boy. I mean, you can confirm that with anybody that I'm not. It is cool. It's cool to see the foundation reaching out. I've heard reports from people having very positive conversations with Stacy. So the effort to reach out is there. Dragonfly wants to talk about how Dragonfly is the community for DeFi on Algorand and maybe Voy. Hampelman says, I don't really understand what's going on, but at this point, I'm afraid to ask. Al Crypto says, I love Evis, but I don't agree with the analogy. One blockchain won't win out in my view. It's a multi-chain future in my view. The top tech blockchains like Algorand will not be ignored. Well, that's I think a lot of our views. Chris Swenner defends himself rightfully. He says, we have definitely received a significant amount and hit every milestone for that amount. Hilmar wants stimulus checks from the Algorand Foundation. Yeah, unlocks has not resulted in anything so far. Hopefully it's a clone. Shaq is pointing out that that's not a co-chain, it's a clone. It's a soft spoon. The good news, I confirm Coop has no token deal with Void this morning, and now Coop did as well. So because your board can cross that off. That's true. It's Buddy Man is repeating what Chris Swenner said for some reason. Reach's customers are protocols, and we had a service contract with Algorand. We got jokes about Voy. Dan, aka Uncle Sam Algo, who is to say that Voy or another spork? I think it's more of a hard fork. Doesn't create the silver bullet that Algo can ultimately adopt. I don't know. Tribold 78 with a very unpopular hot take that is not lost on me. It was not something I was like, are you kidding me? He says XGov from headline not seemingly like such a bad idea now. I mean, it's hard to dispute that it was a really bad idea to call it that. I mean, it was, but at this point, maybe the community needs to take the bull by its horns. At the same time, if we can work all together is probably better. But Tribold 78, I have to say, you're not alone in having that thought. Two Tiny Trees needs to say, we need to stop saying fork. Yeah, it's a clone. Oren says, what is the community doing for Algorand? The only way to make any change is to have a dialogue with those in charge. Going off speaking about what is not right amongst ourselves does no good. Yeah, and that, Oren, that's partly what I'm doing here. I see what you're saying. We're all complaining in the background. We have maybe some aggressive outbursts, but it just all seems disorganized. And I thought, well, there is a lot of very valid concerns, and I'm going to say them and with an audience and deal with the consequences. David Rosen, who I have noticed in my comments has been pretty disgruntled about Algorand for a while. He points out, why is Stacy associated with Algorand given such incompetence? Moreover, if Algorand is so incredible, outstanding, unbelievable, why is it down 98%? And lastly, why has Silvio not addressed this theft? Well, I don't think that Stacy's incompetent, for one. I think that what she does is great. I think that it probably would be very effective on the Beltway and on the world stage. I'm starting to wonder if it's effective in Web3. It's true. Crypto Junkie says, you're as much of an idiot as anyone else here right now. Yeah, I mean, welcome, idiots. Shek Juarez points out that he's going to have a collection of zingers when Voy launches. They're going to be epic, he says. I think you have some time to work on that, Shek. I think I think Chris is a little like, all right, guys, like, let's not be too confident on what you think a Voy is. Like, we haven't even really told you yet. Bill Price wants everything that leverages the AVM to flourish. Obviously, there's a real concern about, dividing an already small community, Okay. I can't, I gotta, wow, there's a lot. Sorry, guys. I wanted to really go through this, but you guys are awesome. We need the Ludo says we need the decentralized community in charge. I love it. That's what I want. I will happily use my channel to help with that. And if there are leaders and more intelligent people than me, there definitely are, certainly in a space like Algorand. And there is some way we can build something that is effective and is truly true community representation, and we can leverage my platform, and I can give my opinions, and it's led by a bunch of people, and we create it maybe using headlines technology. I have no idea. We can call it like we can call it something different. Uh, Whatever. Or we just use the platform that I've said over and over. They're building us the tools to do this. Okay. All right, guys. Okay. I know. I should have. El Crypto says, welcome, idiots. Should absolutely be your intro into the ReCoop. I would not do that. Yeah, Voy's not even live. Dylan makes the point that Voy's not live, but it's already taking people away from Algorand. Look, I want to be clear before we hang up, is this. I unequivocally support Algorand. I don't believe that the Algorand Foundation, I mean, if there's anybody that is important to Algorand, it's the people that are maintaining and continue to push the technology forward. But in general, it doesn't rely on the foundation. It doesn't rely on any individual. It's decentralized. It's a great protocol. And I've made a lot of friends on the chain. So this isn't just cold investment thing for me. I really appreciate a lot of you. Let's not get it twisted. And so that's just what it is. And I'm here sort of fighting for this. And if I'm misguided, I apologize. I'm doing my best and I'm doing what I think is right. And I hope everything's okay. I'm slightly terrified of what Twitter says right now. I see a significant amount of notifications. And I got to go. I got to go now, guys. So let me see. Thanks for your time, Coop. See you later in the week. Hi, AI Works. Hello. And Alloy could probably use our support too, by the way. Allo. Algo Node and such. Not Alloy. Algo Node is also important. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers, and have a great rest of your. If I don't come back tomorrow, I will 100% be back on Friday. Have a great rest of your week. We got the Fed meeting on Wednesday, Thursday. You got Bitcoin pumping, and the narrative is insane. Like it's like, the banks are crashing. Bitcoin's a safe haven. But then you got the mixture that we all know, but nobody's really talking about it, how CZ is pumping the markets with BUSD, and literally none of the mainstream media is covering that. It's just being like, this is a safe haven. I wonder how that ends, but it's not going to end today. Good luck with everything. I hope there's some of you come back on Friday. All right. See you later. Peace.